Welcome. You're listening to the Quality Cup Life podcast. My name is Imani, and here we talk about the experiences of young adulthood and the pursuit of a life of richness, fullness, and purpose. And we've all heard the saying, you need to pour into your own cup first. You don't want to pour from an empty cup. And then we've also all heard when you're on a plane, they say if something go down, make sure that you put on your mask first and make sure you can breathe before you try to help somebody else, because you cannot do much for anybody if you can't breathe. So let's get into it. All right, so today we are going through the money pillar and how you can make some adjustments in your life to get to more of a place where you feel like you're more in overflow instead of in lack and instead of on autopilot. Stay tuned. Thanks for listening, and let's get into the show. All right, welcome back to the Quality Cup Life podcast. My name is Imani, and I wanted to talk to you guys today about the benefits of spending more money and what you can learn from it, because everybody talks about how you can save money and why you should save money and save money and save money and save money. But the thing that irritates me is that people don't always say with a purpose or with an intent. People just say save money, and I say if you're gonna save money with an intent and with a purpose and with a goal, instead of just for this mundane idea of saving money. So I'm talking about the flip side of that today. And so just to give you a little story, to give you something to put it together with for context, last month was my sister's birthday month, right? And so me and her went out of town and we took this cooking class. She wanted to do something different. Neither one of us have ever done a cooking class, but it was more than I would have expected. I think the cooking class was about $80, and I've never, of course, like I said, I've never taken a cooking class, and neither has she. And I don't think I've never even paid over $40 for just my meal alone. I've spent over $100 on food, but at a restaurant, but it was because I was paying for multiple people's meal, not just my own. So $80, I was like, okay. Ew. But I was like, okay, well, we doing something new. It's for her birthday, let's get it. And so I learned / realized a lot of things once I signed up and gave her the money to purchase the seats for the class, and also during the class I learned some things, and then afterwards. Okay, so today I just wanted to talk to you about practical things you can learn from spending more money. All right, so the first thing is that you get to be around a different caliber of people. And when I say different caliber, I don't mean they're better than you or anything like that. They just think differently maybe than you, or have a different reality than you. Meaning that these people are probably more used to whoever's in the same, I'm gonna say cooking class for this, in the same cooking class as you. Or if, let's say, you upgraded your plane ticket to first class, those people that are there with you, sharing the experience with you, they're probably used to doing something like doing those types of things more often. And so they probably don't have the same money insecurities as people who don't fly first class, or people who only spend $10 a plate on their meal or whatever. And so it's just a different level, and it's a different level of thinking. And then the other thing is it usually gets you out of your comfort zone when you spend more money. I was going to say unless you're kind of used to it in certain things, but I'm throwing that out the window. No, it gets you out of your comfort zone, especially if it's something that you're not used to spending more money on. And we all know that once you get out of your comfort zone is where you grow the most, right? Okay, the third thing is, if you're traveling outside of your comfort zone, that usually brings up some fears to the surface. A lot of times it's stuff that you didn't even realize that you were fearful of, or beliefs that you didn't realize that you had. Or like me, I've had several experiences where I knew those things were there, but I didn't know they were affecting me that much. Like, I didn't know those things were driving the bus of my life, so to speak. And so once you do something that's outside of your comfort zone, those things will come up. Those thoughts and beliefs will bubble up to the surface, and it's up to you, of course, to decide whether you're gonna let those beliefs or those fears drive the bus of your life, or you're gonna take the wheel. So, all right. The fourth thing is, it'll be harder to accept and go back to the kind of mediocre-ish experiences that you've been having previously. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard or seen the motivational little videos that Steve Harvey was putting out. One of them he was talking about was, if you're traveling somewhere, upgrade to a first class ticket. Pay whatever you need to pay to upgrade to a first class ticket, because once you get up there and you experience what they experience, and you get the extra room in the seat, and you get to recline in your seat, and you don't have to be squished up in between a whole bunch of people, and you get off the plane first and then you get on the plane first, like, it's a different experience. And then every time and it's gonna bother you after that time, once you go back to economy or coach or whatever, every time you get back on the plane and you walk past first class, it's gonna bother you, and your mind is gonna figure out, how do I get back up to first class? And that is so true, because when I tell you this food, me and my sister both agreed that the food at the cooking class was elite. It was the bomb. That food was so good. I have never had food that good. It was so fresh. It tasted like straight out the Garden of Eden. Like, that food was so good. I've never had, I mean that food was so good, man. I've never had food that tasted that good or that fresh. And it was crazy because we were a part of making the food. We had a professional chef, of course, there to help us and monitor us. And she did a couple things for us. But man, that food was bomb. So the experience is a lot different when you pay more a lot of times than when you pay for a lot less. You get a lot less. You get what you pay for, basically. The next thing is like I was saying, the experience itself is on a whole nother level, because when we paid $80 a piece to go to this cooking class, the experience was different, because once we paid $80 a piece to go to this cooking class, we got to work with a professional chef who taught us exactly the right way to cut up garlic, exactly the right way to cut up the onion, how to cut it up so you don't, like, chop your fingers off, like, what's the right way to squeeze this and cut up that, and here's a lemon preserve, put that in there. Like, it was just, here's how you make, I think it was is it rosette, it's some kind of rice that's like kind of thick. I forget what it's called, but it was, the experience itself was, I've never worked with a real professional chef. And then we were in a real, like, kitchen. We got to use fresh ingredients, versus when you go to someplace cheaper like a Applebee's or a Cracker Barrel, a Ruby Tuesday, places like that where you're paying about $15, $10, $20 a plate. Sometimes my biggest pet peeve is cold food. I cannot stand when my food comes out cold or lukewarm. It's just like, if you was gonna bring me cold food, why in the devil did it take you 20 minutes to do that? Like, the food was clearly already made. You could have just brought it straight out as soon as I ordered it. I don't know why you back there finessing like you cooking, because the food is cold. Like, I cannot stand that. Or sometimes the customer service sucks. Or maybe the food is hot, but you can tell it's not fresh. The vegetables aren't fresh. The meat isn't fresh. You can tell it's frozen. Like, it's a different, it's different. It's a different level of, it's a different level. Sometimes the food is undercooked, overcooked. I don't have food come out burnt. Had it come out mushy because it wasn't cooked long enough. Just all kind of tomfoolery. And then how in the world did the waiter have the audacity to see now that the thing is burnt, had the audacity to put it on the table in front of you anyway? Like, it's different if it's mushy, it's undercooked, but they couldn't tell because from the outside the presentation was nice. No, if the presentation looks like garbage, how do you have the audacity to put that on the table in front of me and expect me to eat that? That's just bizarre to me, honestly. And then the last thing that I noticed and experienced was that when you do pay more money, whether that's a restaurant or you pay more money for shoes or plane ticket or whatever, typically the people that are serving you, that you deal with, the energy is different because they love and appreciate what they do. And so they take more pride into it. They're not going to bring you food that's cold or that's burnt. They're not going to do that. Or that's not fresh. Or they're not going to give you crap customer service. They're concerned and they have pride in what they do. And then they also appreciate you as a customer. Versus when you go to some place like sometimes cheaper restaurants, they look at you crazy when you tell them that there's a problem with their food. Sometimes they look like you're bothering them by asking them, hey, can you take this back to the back and can I get a new one? Because this ain't it. Fam, like, this ain't it. And it's crazy. They act like you owe them something. I don't owe you nothing, baby. You need to get your act together because people like me, customers, are the reason why you have a job. So please act like it. You know what I mean? I just don't understand that. And I'm learning more and more. Yeah, people all the time talk about saving money. And that has its place. But having enough money and having the courage to spend more can get you better results and get you a better experience out of life instead of just always going the cheap route and always trying to contract instead of expanding, because the more you expand, the more likely you are to, that's with anything, but especially finances, the more you're available and open enough to expand and spend more money, the more likely that you'll find more ways to do that. And if you're intentional, you can do it in healthy ways by making sure you actually have the money. You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to stop by, ride through, and bring this to you guys' attention. I ain't gonna hold you. Thank you so much for watching or listening. I will leave the podcast link down in the description if you ever want to just listen to it on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, iTunes, things like that. If you like this, feel free to subscribe. That really helped me out. Like this video, share it if you found it helpful. And if you're on the audio platform, Spotify, iTunes, feel free to leave a review. That really helped me out. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.